Okay, the big red button has been hit. he's a search for me. Should I try and straighten him out?
If you need to. If you need to.
I think I can hear my mom eating off a plate right now in the living room.
I can just hear the fan.
You can hear that?
Yeah.
Should we hit that one?
I mean, I don't mind it.
It's probably this one that you hear.
Yeah.
They're blowing down on the mic. Alright.
Check. The big red button has been pushed. I'm
butt naked. Okay. Let's just get this started. Let's just jump in and see what happens. And if my son tries to make me play the daddy role. No, here, come in for a second. Hey, we're gonna record, boy. So you're gonna have to wait outside, all right? We're gonna do this for about an hour. Can you wait? You're gonna hang out with Uncle Joel and Grandma, all right? Right here. All right, close that door. Yep. All right, I'll see you in a bit, boy, when we're done. Pull it close. There we go. All right. So I gotta readjust this. I put it back on. Okay.
Yo.
Okay. So I'll let it down up till now.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, people. Oh shit.
This is the closest we've been.
Yeah, in a while. There it is. That sounds better for my hearing. How you sound?
I sound decent. Yeah.
You want to go up a notch on you?
I think I'm alright.
All right. We'll adjust as we go.
I am good.
When we get warmed up, that our volumes change.
Yeah.
When you get in your zone.
Yeah. What happened to the fancy mics?
If you want them.
No. I just realized we weren't using them, but it is kind of.
The last time we used them, whenever you got comfortable, you would sit back, and I couldn't hear a damn thing you were saying.
Oh yeah.
So I would rather have you on that mic and then me on a fancy mic because I'm holding it, like mushing my
so I need to practice more.
Yeah, well, roll up from now on. The rest we'll do them together in person like this. And I will make a point to make sure the mics are all set up proper. You want to do it that way?
No. We're in a tight space.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Boom. You got stuff hanging over your head, like kid stuff. This room is like half my history mixed in with my nephew and my niece. So.
All right,
it's a little weird. I'm back home in my parents' house.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: we've already butt heads and clashed of the Titans since I've been home. But
that's what it's about.
That's how it goes.
No. We expect.
I knew it was coming before I ever came down here, but personalities clash.
Oh no. I mean, yeah.
And at the same time, they've been used to having nobody to have to tell what to do in their house. I think they've kind of enjoyed that, even though they've been struggling a little bit. Like since I've come home, I've had to fix a lot of stuff that normally, if they were really capable of getting around, they would have handled it themselves, but they can't, or they're either unaware of it or they can't. So that's how that goes. All right, and on that note, welcome back, everybody. This is Sky and Ben here at the Natives in America podcast.
What's up?
You know what you're listening to. Tonight's subject. Should we just dive into this?
Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of cool. Me and Sky are here in the same room. Like it's always a pleasure to do it that way. Other than the way we usually end up doing it, like
pandemic.
Yeah, the pandemic rules still
COVID stand. On the phone. We're not even 6 feet.
Whoa! You could have lied. Yeah. Now nobody's gonna listen. They're like, oh no, they're not safe. We can't listen.
They're not following protocol.
Damn! You said, all right, you put us on blast.
I'll
bro.
turn my head this way. My particles will go this way.
Then you're gonna leave, and those. I'm gonna have to sanitize those curtains right there.
Burn them.
Yeah. Just burn the room. Just crisp it up a little.
Oh well, I threw this idea at Benji because I've been listening to the older episodes, and I like lists. I like the idea of doing a list and even reading other people's lists. Like it's fun. So
I like when you ask. You didn't ask every guest we've had so far, but now that it's a thing, I think you've made a point to ask everybody. What's their list on something?
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool. Movies, especially.
I don't know, yeah. It's just I mean, even in music, like, you know, you have your...
Mm-hmm.
You mean your favorite artist or who's top 10. But, so I threw the idea of Benjamin of, like, board games.
Board games.
And board games kind of... don't necessarily need a board for it to be considered a board game, so I threw it at him, but we didn't kind of go over any, like, like what, even cards, like Crazy 8, you know, Speed, like.
Yeah, okay, yeah. What, well, yeah, we tend to define as we go what we're actually talking about, and then we can come prepared. I'll tell you this, I like lists. I don't like being unprepared with no list. And then we're talking about a list. I've done it a few times where we did a top 5, and I'm writing my top 5 as we're doing the podcast, which is horrible. It just makes me horrible.
Well, it's kind of like official.
Yeah.
So you don't want to screw up the list, but yeah, you can always revise it. So that's
one of those days as we were talking, I had a top 5 written down. And as we were talking, I wound up with like 10 that I was squeezing into the numbers. Like, all right, no, this is my top. This is my number 2. So I'm probably going to be doing that tonight. Because also when you wrote up, you're like, hey, these are games we'd play if you're bored as well. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was kind of thinking that even when you brought up board games, because there's a couple of board games that I play all the freaking time. And I know other people are playing them. Mm-hmm. And then there's some where it's like, what the hell is that? It's like one of those games we just kind of found.
Yeah.
And then, and I was kind of thinking like, all right, there's this other stuff we play. And I knew it didn't qualify as a quote unquote. I'm doing quotes. Sky can see them. Nobody else can see them. I'm doing quotes. I'm going to turn my shit down a little. A board game. I figured some of the stuff I wanted to talk about doesn't qualify as a board game. So when you came in and you're like, well, bored, and it's a game you play, like if you're bored, then I'm like, oh, well, yeah. That makes it perfectly fine for me to think of some of the games I was thinking about.
Huh. Like what?
Oh, you put me on the spot right here, damn it. Well, it was like the Sectori, like you mentioned, but there's a game that I found a long time ago, and it was called Outburst. Mm-hmm. And I kind of, the only way I can describe it is it's like Family Feud. They give you a category like top 5 answers that you might get.
Oh, okay.
And it was like most popular answers. So it would say name as many Star Wars characters as you can, and they had a list, and and everybody just started shouting them out. And as long as you did teams sometimes, or you could just do a group, but like you would shout out your answers, and if they hit one on the list, it would get marked off, and you get points, and that was the whole point about Outbursts.
Oh,
was you're yelling it out, you're like yelling it out. I recently found one on the phone, and it's called Shoutrageous. So look that up on your. It was a Google Play app called Shoutrageous, and same deal, almost the exact same way, but it comes with categories, and then you got to pay for more, and I do because. After a while, after you've done it again and again, sometimes you start remembering some of the answers. What's even worse is when you don't even remember answers and you just heard them.
Yeah.
But it's a game I can play with almost any age, like as long as the person you're playing with can talk, like my niece and my nephew even my niece, who's like a little bit younger, she can still participate, which is great, especially for...
Yeah.
I don't always play board games, but I do when the family gets together. Like, we do get bored. Like, we're going to keep watching TV, or you guys want to do something interactive together. And that you would think at my age, at Sky's age, you'd be too old for that. Or maybe my mom would be too old for board games, but they'll play.
Yeah.
And if there's something that we could play together, then it makes all the difference. And it even makes a night even more fun. Like, every time we end, like, a game night, which I want to bring up, game nights, it's like, when the game night's over, it's like, that was fun. I miss getting together. And, like, this whole pandemic time, game nights don't happen anymore. Or at least, not in person. So... it's something maybe we'll appreciate even more now.
Yeah.
Fucking pandemic.
Well, I didn't mean like board. Like, I was talking about the board, like the Monopoly board.
Whoa. That's what I thought you meant in the beginning. I thought you opened it up to when we're bored.
No.
Games.
Well, I guess, do we play board games because we're bored? Or... I think that was kind of also where I was going at, like the game Sorry. Like, Sorry is a fun game that I remember playing growing up, but then...
That's a board game.
Like, it was almost fun to get the Sorry card and knock out somebody. Yeah, sorry.
It's sorry. You're like an asshole, but you're really not sorry.
But, like, is that our space of time to be, like, not cynical, but just like, hey, I got you. Or is that what games are for? So we can kind of live out those emotions and stuff. Like,
I want to punish you,
knock your shit out.
Yeah. Listen here, my niece. I've been waiting to get you, and this is it. Your time has come.
But then again, too, like, and the work I'm doing, a lot of it is like skills. So like, our coping skills. So like, board games are like a lot of ways to pass time and to actually do something meaningful, or being able to have sportsmanship with somebody. Like there's a lot of things that you learn, but I guess kind of going through the games that we played, like, what did we learn from them? Yeah. Or did we learn anything? Was it just to kill our boredom? But, yeah, I mean, I have a general list, but I didn't get official and write it down, so... Oh. So
you have an idea.
You're relieved of doing a list today, like, don't... You can breathe on that, man. But yeah,
as an excuse, I was building a gate from 2x4s and pieces of wood, and when Sky rolled up, I was sitting there lacquering it up and painting it, and I completely forgot. Like, it's podcast night. I saw your car roll up, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have a list. I don't have the machine set up. Like. And it's probably long past the time. I don't even have my phone.
Yeah.
This guy's probably been blowing me up.
I text you, I'm running late. I'll be there.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, I was late.
After.
But it didn't matter.
That's okay. I think that's just how it goes. Roll of the dice, as we say in the board game business. Okay, alright, so I'll bring up the first obvious one. And it's Monopoly. You already mentioned it, but Monopoly, like, sometimes somebody will bring up Monopoly, and I'm like, fuck that, I don't got 3 hours to fucking
play. That's a long...
It's like, no, I'm not going to play that right now. I'm like, no. But as far as, like, learning goes, like, my mom's a teacher. I think a lot of you guys out there know that. Sky knows that his mom's a teacher, and I think they even worked together at some point. And she used to use, like, she used to be in this program called Team, and it had to be like it was about teachers interacting with parents, adults, the parents of their students, and it was a way for the school, or at least my mom and her liaisons, all the people she was working with, to interact with parents and maybe get their parents involved in their kids' education. So what they would do is they would design board games for the home, and they'd send parents home with counting games and spelling games that they basically made up. Like they got Oriental Trader toys and beans and whatever they could to use as markers for your place. And so I remember always wanting to get into those toys that she'd order, like all the little plastic cars and bouncing frogs and erasers, and she'd be like, "No, it's for work. But like I think board games, any game, not just Monopoly, like they teach you to count, and Monopoly taught us how to be aware of your money. Don't blow it all on the fucking boardwalk. You're probably better off building houses on your lower income properties." It's a bit of a life teacher.
Yeah.
Now I just mentioned my second board game.
Life?
Yeah. But yeah, like Monopoly. I love being the Battleship. I like the top hat.
Man, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
But I think that's why, because it's such a long... I think... it's funny because some of these games, newer ones, have come out and they've modified stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's a Monopoly where it's like, get it done in like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't know if it's that short, but I remember some epic games with my cousins, just sort of like, when you get fatigued and you kind of start getting in your motions. It's just like, what? That's my shit,
Motherfucker, I ain't paying you nothing.
Landing on something you can't own, I guess I didn't think of that, like property and developing land.
Can you afford to go straight to a hotel on a cheap place and suddenly you got all this income, or you blow all your money on a property you can't even afford to put a house on, then you're getting the minimum of what you could have had.
Don't go to jail.
Don't go to jail. I didn't learn from that one. I've been to jail.
Well, they got a get out of jail free card.
Okay.
So that was
I wish that existed. Yeah.
No, I just remember because sometimes you get so far where it's like, man, we've done. Let's just call it. It was fun. Maybe everyone's up on their... You're playing good... I guess when it's a good game, it'll last longer, maybe. But as one of my cousins at the time just was like, we ain't giving up. Like, we ain't stopping. And it was like going hardcore into the night. So it was like...
cutthroat. I'm not leaving until I have all your money.
But yeah, no, that was definitely a fun time filler.
What's your
okay, so I'm going with dominoes.
Okay.
But I think because I remember watching my cousins play it, and then and they were getting all into it, and just the way the table would form, and the way they would make things. I just thought that was intriguing. So when I finally understood the concept, and it does deal with a lot of good math, like
strategy,
going by fives or whatever,
okay.
So there's no board with that, but that's what I'm saying. It's a board game, and I don't know. So
let's not disqualify it.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
I'm trying to think of. I just have fond memories of playing with my family and talking shit and laughing at somebody if they're having to go into the boneyard and keep picking.
The boneyard.
Just
You're looking at them, and they're like, you don't got nothing. They're just sitting there, like, staring at their dominoes, like, change, give me something. I don't want to go to the boneyard. And then you see them kind of, smoothly reach out to the boneyard, and you're like, yeah, you don't got nothing. You got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it in a while. Well, so another thing about dominoes is you don't have to play it. You can just stack them up and knock them down.
Yeah.
And the domino effect, that's always...
That's alright. So I was gonna bring that up. Like even before I could play, I always saw people playing it. I wanted to play, but I didn't know yet. And nobody was willing to teach me. But I would stack them up. I'd build with them, like make little houses. And the other day, my son walked up to me. He had like the 10 with like the double 6.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, Daddy, let's play. Daddy, let's do this. And I was like, nah, son, nah, you don't know how to count like that yet. Like, nah, I can't explain this game to you. And he's just like, Daddy, play with me. And then I was like, okay, dude doesn't need to know the rules. We can just start building stuff. So I took a couple out and like started making like some Stonehenge stuff. And next thing I know, he was enthralled and like engaged, and he just like started building.
Oh yeah.
I started building little houses, and he'd knock them down like some Flintstone houses, and he's just like, and they knock them down, and I was like, God, so I was like, all right, I'll build another one. And I just kept building them. He'd knock them down, and even though he had no concept of the game dominoes, we got to play with the dominoes. So I had forgotten that, and it brought back a lot of memories of like me being way too young to play a game of dominoes, but boom, I was engaged. I had a way to play.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, there I was telling my son, "Oh, you don't know yet. We can't play with these. It's just a mess at this point. There's no way to play it." And then next thing I know, we're playing them. We're playing with dominoes, and I was like, "Wow!" Like, okay. He likes the colors, He doesn't, he can kind of count them, but who cares? He didn't need to. It was a board game or something. He was having fun.
Nice.
And that's a thing I remembered once I was playing with him. I was like, man, I used to do this too. And it was kind of nice. I think I feel that way every time I get to play with like a younger kid, and like say we're playing, all right, I got the next one. I got the next one. But anyway, yeah, dominoes. All right, you brought up dominoes, right? You got anything else to say about it?
Domino.
I was gonna say, I was like, domino, motherfucker. Like, pull some ice cubes. Like, domino, motherfucker.
Oh yeah. Oh, and plus, yeah. I think it was a Dr. Dre video. They're playing dominoes. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of the setting I see in my head when I say let's play some dominoes. I see like 40s on the table and like bunch of dudes. Smoke.
Yeah, it's cloudy under a bare bulb, like above us, just like round table. Everybody's all brewed and just like talking shit and like trying to hide their dominoes. Kind of picking them up one at a time. Don't look at my dominoes. Like, you don't know what I got. I remember a while back. We were playing board games and dominoes and card games with my buddy's mom, and every time it was her turn, we'd be sitting there like 10, 15 minutes, and we're all just like, come on, just play, like, come on, like, what are you doing? What's so hard about this? And she'd just be sitting there like older. She was older than all of us, and all of us were like, I think I'm a millennial. I don't know, but like millennial. We needed like, I think so. Yes. I was born in '86, so.
Oh, I thought you were Gen Z.
I feel like it's anyone who's born during the time of the millennium, the turn of the millennium.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
A child during that time.
I thought we were Gen X or Gen Z.
Whenever I hear people say millennials, I'm like, ugh, millennials.
Yeah.
But I don't know. All right. Anyway, the point was, I have no point. This is what it is.
Well, you were impatient. Because
okay. Oh yeah. Sorry, I got carried away. You challenged me, and I was like, oh no, I gotta explain myself. So every one of us were younger than her, and we were just like, come on, like, God damn it. Like, I don't want to disrespect an older person, but I was just like, God damn it, if you don't put down your next card, I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. Like, we were all getting impatient. But the funny thing is, she was like winning every fucking game. Because she put all that thought into her turn. And it didn't matter what we were playing, she was killing us. So it was irritating on a couple levels where it was like, God damn it, just play your turn so I can play my turn. And at the same time, it's like, fuck you, you're always winning. Like, God, like, it was like, like, after she won like 5 games, I'm like, fuck this, I'm going home. Fuck you guys, I'm going home. But it was like, she'd just sit there and just stare at it. In my mind, she didn't know what she was doing, but what she was really thinking out her play. I think she was even thinking about what we had. Like, you know, going steps ahead of us like you would in chess, like, oh.
Yeah.
She got us. She nailed us every time. So it was like we were talking shit the whole time, like, come on, go! Then she'd win. She'd come out with a big W, and it's just like, double insult. Like, damn it. She knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was no spring chick, you know, she was no new person like us. We were all new and thinking we were bad. And she whooped our asses. So there you go. That was it for me. Yeah, all right. So, Scrabble was the next game I was gonna bring up, because what I was thinking was games you play with a kid, like kids I'm playing with now. I remember my mom would let me do 2-letter words. You know, it.
Oh yeah.
Cat. You know, 3-letter words. Just really small words, and like in the real game of Scrabble, there's no 2 letters. So, like, that's a game that we would start teaching my niece and my nephew and eventually my son how to spell, you know, how to strategize, how to take a stack of letters and start turning it into words and being able to track it, you know, or like, I can't think of any words right now, but like when you have 3 letters, you can make several words out of those 3 letters.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, act, cat, I want to say, like, ace. Well, that doesn't fit, but what I'm saying is you can make multiple words out of the same letters, and, like, that's another learning process of board games. And maybe the origin of why we even have board games, a learning tool.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe even ways to settle bets. Like, I think since this is the Natives in America podcast, we should mention Gins.
Oh, yeah.
All right? You know, like, classic board game with no board is in the dirt. And you got your wapa, you know, you're bouncing on your rock. Pow! You know, keeping score, making your moves, going across the board.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
gambling.
I've heard of stories of hardcore gambling where some people bet their life or their limb or their home or settle bets between either rival villages or even between tribes. So, or that's the stories I've heard.
Oh yeah, no, I think we're gamblers at heart, you know. But
chance.
You know, even just being out in the desert, you know, that's a gamble in itself. If you're not, I mean, so a lot of this stuff in the actual games that we're playing, we kind of generate this "I'm gonna win" feeling, or this. I have the cards, I have the whatever, the hands to get those actual numbers or whatever, the calculations of whatever I need to get the
confidence building,
the
too.
dub. Yeah,
like even if you don't got the winning hand, you're like, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win, and that's a natural feeling that humans have, I guess. I'm sure there's some animals that are gonna win and love winning, but I think it's board games or games in general play on that, our desire to win and compete, and maybe to learn. Maybe.
Well, when to say when. Well, there's another game that I recently Well, Scrabble's awesome. Scrabble's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'll play anytime. You want to come back and play, I'll play. Any of you guys listening on there, I'll play. You want to play Scrabble? I'm down. Bet. But
I don't know if you know how to play Mancala.
When you say Mancala, I'm thinking of the board that folds down.
Yeah.
And there's two sets of holes. And there's
that's it.
Like an end piece.
Yeah.
It's strategy, and you can move one stone at a time. And you're trying to get your stones from one side to the other.
There's a pot that you're trying to fill, and whoever has the most, when all the lanes are gone, that's who wins.
Okay.
But it's actually, kind of riffing off of the Gins. Mancala is actually a African counting game.
No kidding.
So it's a pretty old game, but I remember seeing it on this movie called they're having Mancala Hour, and they will be all playing that game, and it's not. To me, it's sort of like a chill. I guess it could get pretty intense, but like it doesn't really need to. It kind of has this slowness of it to where you're getting out. They're usually like marbles or something, but they could be stones too. But you're getting out the stones out of the little pile, and then you're dropping them, following that pattern. And then like if you land one in, then you might get to go again. So there's you can have a strategy to win, but it's such an easy game to play that I play that pretty often. I even have it on my phone, the actual app version of it, because
no kidding.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's pretty simple. But yeah, maybe there are those games that because that's another thing too about games is the rules. Some come with the lengthy. If you're following the rules, they really have them set. And then there's some where there's just a couple, and that's how you get it going. But yeah, Mancala. If you ever want to learn, I'll teach you.
Yeah, I think I played in the past, but like when somebody's like, "Hey, let's play a game," I'm not saying, "Hey, break out Mancala, let's do that shit." I don't know. It's not my go-to at all. But yeah, I think the way you described it, it makes me want to play. Just lay back and chill.
I Heart Huckabees. That's the name of the movie.
I Heart Huckabees.
And they have a Mancala Hour, and like everyone's all playing.
Huh. All right, I'll look for the movie, and then maybe play the game. Let's approach it that way.
All right. Well, no pressure.
Okay. I mentioned chess already, and I'm thinking about it now. I
didn't even think of chess.
Yeah. So I was a checkers guy for the longest time. And
checkers is fun too.
Yeah, and I used to be really good at it, and I got to the point where I only like to play. I can't remember what the hell you call it, like super checkers or something, where you can do multiple times. Yeah, like you can jump multiple pieces. Yeah. I loved that. I got into that, and I really liked it. And I played the other day and got beat by this little girl at checkers. And it was because I was like, in super checkers, you can do this. And she's like, you can't do that here. And I was like, I hate you. She whooped my ass, and the whole time her mom was sitting there just smiling like, you're a dumbass. You know how to play checkers. And I was like, bitch, I play her chess. I'll play chess. But I was like, I didn't have it. And I got beat.
Oh man!
I got beat at checkers, and then the whole time I'm thinking I could play chess. I could play. That's something I can play, like, to the point where I mean, almost my whole life, I could never compete with the computer. Just get my ass whooped. And then, for a while, I was playing chess on, like, a tablet. And I played, like, every day I'd sit down and spend, like, an hour or two playing it. Just, bored out of my mind. Not at work, don't got my son. I think it might even be before my son, but, like, I'd sit there and just play the computer.
Uh-huh.
And I started at super easy. I started beating the computer, and I was like, all right, take it up a notch. Took it to easy. Started winning against the easy computer. And then I went to medium, or whatever was up above easy, and that's where it started feeling like it was competitive. Like, all right, I don't win every time, but occasionally I'll win. And going back, like, again, you're a kid and you see something and you want to touch it. What's this about? And I remember older people will know this guy, Virgil Walker and Sharon Walker. Like, before we went to high school, she was the principal of the school, and I think Virgil Walker was like the superintendent of the Bobby Kibbe High School. But Sharon Walker, his wife, was the principal of the high school. And then I used to go to their house and play. Like, they didn't have kids of their own, but they liked having kids over. So, like, me and my buddy Jay would go play Mr. Wesh's son. Yeah. So I was living in the teachers complex, and I lived across the road from Jay, and Sharon and Virgil were our neighbors. And we'd go to their house, and they had, like, a really nice glass chessboard in their living room. And I'd always, like, look at it and just kind of move the pieces. Like, I always tried to show respect in their house because they were, like, a older couple, and they had nice things. Like, they had those weird smells in their house, like
potpourri.
Yeah, well, something. Whatever they were cooking, whatever kind of herbs they had in the house, there was something that always smelled weird in their house. And, like, I think you either see that with people on special diets or they have money and they got these other kinds of smells in their house. It's a lot different than poor smell. Like, there's a bit of a stink to poor smell. But these guys, they had some money, and they had a nice chessboard, and we'd go over, and I didn't try to, like, get down and play and throw all the pieces apart, but I was interested. And one day, Virgil is like, hey, if you want to learn, I'll teach you. Like, you want to learn chess? And he tried to have me just read it on a computer, like, the rules, and that didn't really work, so he started, like, showing me on the board these glass pieces. Like, they were glass with velvet underneath them, and they slid real nice on this giant glass plate, and with a checkerboard, like, etched in it. So chess, for me, goes back to, like, my childhood. Wow. And where I realized there was a whole other level of gaming that I wasn't aware of. And then it became, like, this thing where it was like, I want that. Like, I want to be able to compete, because if I didn't play right, he didn't want to play. Like, he'd be like, like, look, you got to learn the rules. You got to study this. You got to learn this if you want to play this game. So it was one of those things, like, all right, I can't play if I don't put the time in. Yeah. So, like, chess is this other level of strategy that,
Well, Kobe Bryant has a quote that he says, and it's kind of like speaking to his work ethic versus other people's work ethic. And he says, you guys are playing checkers, I'm playing chess. And just in the sense of those being two games, chess is very elaborate, and there's all these different pieces.
Moves, strategy.
And it's not a limit. Opposed to checkers where, like that, the little girl's beating you on a basic level because you're adding all these other. You're trying to play this way that's a lot more.
I completely have stopped playing checkers. So I didn't know the basics anymore. I was just sitting there like, all right, I'm good in this move, and then she jumped me, and I'm like, motherfucker. Oh yeah. So yeah, there was more. And, on that same level, we both know Dr. Whitty. And a couple people who listen to this know Dr. Whitty. I think she was always in a bid for like a higher position in her department of surgery, and there was somebody there that didn't like her. Like they were always on her case or didn't want her to get the position, which is weird because she was like this person of the people. She is a person of the people, or maybe a person of the children, and that's what this person didn't get. But they were always butting heads, and the ladies, like, they used to send these like comments to each other. And one day I was in her office, Dr. Whitty's office, and she so I think the lady said something like that along the lines like, I hold all the cards. Like, hey, I got you, I hold all the cards. And Dr. Whitty's response was, yeah, well, while you're playing cards, I'm playing chess. Like,
hey, hell yeah.
And it was kind of cool to her because she's got a whole history where she knew Bobby Fischer, like on a personal level, like family. He was like family in her life. And if you go to her house, Dr. Whitty's house, she's got this giant, like, man-sized chessboard in her backyard.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, so, like, you mentioned that quote with Kobe Bryant, and I was just like, man, like, she was on another level, this woman.
Yeah.
And she proved it. Like, it was so, she had this grin on her face when she told me, she's like, oh, well, I hold all the cards. And she's like, yeah, well, while you're playing cards, I'm playing chess.
Yeah,
hell like, yeah, stick it to her.
Hell yeah.
But that's what chess is.
There's a lot of
other level of competition.
The pawn, and the queen.
Yeah. And sometimes you find yourself to be a pawn in somebody else's chess game. You know.
Yeah.
So, as far as games that affect the life, or your upbringing, like where I saw this other level of game beneath it, to where I started competing with a computer, and then to her and Kobe Bryant talking about other people, like, hey, you're playing checkers, I'm playing chess. Like, I'm on another level. Good luck. Like,
yeah.
Chess has got that with it. Like, hey, do you play chess? It's like, hell yeah, I play chess. Like, yeah. Or people go like, when I live my life 5 moves ahead. You know, like, and they're talking chess. Like,
yeah, that's a chess.
I got you. Like, I'm playing this game with you right now, but I'm already 5 moves ahead. I know what you're going to do next and what I'm going to do. And that's badass.
There's a lot of teaching.
Yeah.
A lot of teaching that you can use with chess. But there was another basketball player I think it was last season or this season, and it was more with the media and how, like, the media can kind of tell whatever story they want, and whatever content you give them they can do whatever they want with it. They'll run with it. And Kyrie Irving said to the media pretty much was like, I don't talk to pawns. Oh. And like everyone just flipped out, like, what is he talking about? But it was such a crazy smooth line that it was just sort of like, I mean, that's kind of can be justified as far as, like, somebody that tells the news doesn't always have to tell it accurate, or they tell them what their king and their queen is telling them. Yeah. I mean, so
or they're protecting the higher ups by doing what they're doing.
Well, and then too, like, the pawn's like the lowest of the low. That's like,
and it's very limited on what it can do. It can do a lot in the beginning, and then it's kind of stuck to 1 or 2 moves forward or to the right. Yeah. So it can still attack, but you kind of got to give it to them in order for them to take it.
Yeah. No, it's
interesting.
Pretty cool.
That was kind of a, what did he call it? A left-handed comment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't talk to pawns. Okay.
So chess, chess is on my list too.
Good. Good.
But I feel like I haven't mastered it. So.
Oh yeah, I got buddies that like read the books. Like there's all these books out there on strategy and all that. And, there you go. You've read them, some, whatever. I've never read them, and I'm aware of it. Like that's one thing I can admit is, I know a lot of things, but there's always more to learn. And yeah, chess is one of those things where if I come across somebody who's really good, I'll just bite my tongue. Like, yeah, they're like, hey, you want to play chess? I'm like, well, if you want to play, I'll play. But if you're here to prove something, let's do something else. Let's do something else.
Yeah, well, I think there's like different schools of thought where you gotta study the game, you gotta study, and then there's this kind of nonchalant, like, let's just play and because it's like you almost gotta see what your opponent's giving you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't make your next move sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even have an idea of what you're gonna do based off of not knowing what the other person's gonna do. So you're interacting with somebody, so in the moment your studying could not even matter because what this person's giving you is something you didn't even plan for. So I try to play, like, especially when I come across somebody new I've never played, I try to say, alright, I'll play, but we got to play like 5 games. Because the first one, you're probably going to blow me out of the water, or I'm going to blow you out of the water, but at some point I'm going to figure you out. Like, at some point, like, you're not going to judge me on this first game. You're not going to beat me and then walk away like, you don't got shit, and just walk away all proud. It's like, whoa, that was game 1. Yeah. Let's bring another one out and let's see what happens next. It's like, now I got to feel for you. Like, I got you. I got you. So, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a little out there. I mean. Yeah, another thing, the Russians. The way I've always heard it is, they're out there in the cold in Siberia, and a lot of times all they're doing is playing chess, drinking vodka, and fucking, being Russian. It's like they got a lot of time on their hands. So like, if you're like around, I think Albanians too, but like they're hardcore chess players. That's one thing I've learned, and maybe not from personal experience, but I hear it a lot. Is you come across Russians, if you're gonna do anything with them, recommend a game of chess, and you'll get to know that person right away. It's like they got a lot of time on their hands in Russia, and it just seems to be a pastime in Russia is to play chess. Wow. Yeah. So, maybe never challenge a Russian to shots of vodka. Don't challenge them to chess unless you're into that, like getting your ass handed to you every now and then. Like I like a challenge sometimes, I mean, I think a few times, and it's been a while, but like where someone just comes in and just beat you, so and not in that many moves, just check, just check, like boom, like check. I mean, that feeling of just what did I do wrong? Like, whoa, what the hell? We just started. What happened? I've had people go from the other end of the table or the other end of the board, like with a queen, and just shoot right in the second I opened up my board, like move my pieces out, and I went right in and locked me into a checkmate because I had all my pieces still together. You're still clapped. Like I was still locked in. There was nowhere for my king to go, and like it was like 4 moves in, and they're just like boop right in there, like checkmate. Like what? Yeah. Quick and easy. I was like, I haven't even set up my grid yet, fella. I'm still invading. Yeah, I'm still like lining my pieces up for attack. Ran in. All right. So what's the next one on your list? Next one on my list. Well, I just thought this would be a funny one. It's not really on my list, but Operation. Okay. I think that this over the weekend I was at my niece's apartment and she had the game Operation. And I didn't even think that was I was like, I never see this game, and just the fact that it's, I guess not how dumb games are, or not. I'm not saying they're dumb, but I'm just like, I mean, I remember watching the commercials. And they really played it off. Even Jenga.
Oh, yeah.
Jenga. The commercials for Jenga were just sort of like...
Jenga.
Yeah. Like, they made it more... I mean, Jenga games can get intense. I mean, but...
Yeah.
Just how silly the commercials were.
Oh.
And how... doing surgery on this guy, you were, you know, that was the object of the game, which is, what did that teach us?
Hand-eye coordination. Maybe it's like, all right, you're not going to be a surgeon. You touch the sides every time. It's not going to happen, kid.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Weeded out all the people that can't go to medical school.
So you're like, you're gonna be a nurse at best. Like, you're not gonna be a doctor. No offense to nurses. I know they're the workhorses out there.
I don't remember anyone being like, "Oh, I'm such a badass at operation," you know. Like, don't challenge me on operation, man.
You don't want none of this on operation. Huh. Yeah. So another one that kind of goes along those lines in my mind. The second you mentioned, like, what's the point? I think it was called Mousetrap or something like that.
Ooh.
Where it, like, had all these contraptions. And shit. I never understood it. Like, I always wanted to play with it because of all the, like, the intricate little workings, all the little traps and all that. Like, that's how my mind goes crazy with something like that. Like, let's line stuff up and, like, make it happen. Like, knocking over the dominoes. It's like, I want to strategize that. What do they call it when they do, like, a big elaborate thing where, like, you know, the bowling ball rolls down and hits something? Isn't there, like, a name for that? You know, the bowling ball hits the pin is tied to a string, and it blows up, it knocks a switch, and the switch blows up.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know.
There's a name for it. I know it. I can't think of it.
Synchronized?
I think it's like, I think there's a person's name who came up with it or something like that. And it's a something. Anyway, whenever I saw Mousetrap, that's one of those ones they built up like crazy. Like, hey kids, let's play this game, and you start playing it, or I don't know if I've ever actually played it. Like, I don't know if there's rules to it. But it's like one of those games where it's like, what is the point of this? Am I going to be an exterminator now? Because, like, I know how to make all these wacky traps. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, that's another game that came to mind when you brought up Operation. Like, what's the point of this game?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of these, maybe they were just fillers, you know, time. Like, what we said, the board, the actual...
Yeah.
Or now does that appeal to a certain market where Mousetrap, that's just like the bee's knees. And,
Well, it made me think of this guy on YouTube. I don't remember his name, but he had like a Middle Eastern kind of accent. Like, it was real strong. But like, his whole YouTube channel is designing homemade mousetraps. So like he like cut up a couple 2-liter soda bottles, slap them together, slice them just right, put some kind of mixture of peanut butter and whatnot in the bottom, and then he'd sit it out. And I can only imagine he has pet mice, but he'll sit there and he'll just set up the video camera, and you'll just watch these mice like roll up, like, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
Like, what's this? And you're just sitting there, and they're like, one by one falling in, and it's too slippery to get out. So like, his entire YouTube channel, and I swear he's got more videos than us, and it's all mousetraps, homemade mousetraps. I'm gonna have to look up the link and tell you guys later or something. Like is that the point of that game? Like, that's his life. You mentioned a guy's life on mousetraps and extermination.
Just inspired him to just...
Yeah. Maybe it was non-kill, too. No-kill traps. Because I'm sure he released them afterwards. Like, I can just imagine this guy's house fucking stinks. It's got that porous stink on it, you know, where it's just like, oh, you go in his house like, You got a mouse problem here,
well,
buddy.
The mousetrap game, maybe the mouse was a famous mouse or something. No?
I don't know where you're going with that, brother. Are we talking Mickey Mouse here, or a little underneath him?
I don't know, like Stuart Little or something. I don't know, but I've never played Mousetrap. But
I don't think you can play Mousetrap.
Probably not.
I remember I've always set it up as a kid, and that's all we did. We didn't break out the rules. We just,
you know what,
set it up.
I just now came to me is Battleship.
Okay.
Battleship was, there's only 2 players, right?
Yeah.
So that was, you just needed an
opponent.
Yeah, and it was. Thinking back now, I don't remember having any like epic games, but the idea of it is still cool.
Yeah.
You know, blowing up another person's.
Oh, you sunk my battleship.
Yeah.
That's a game that they fucking built up too on TV, like the commercial.
Oh,
Like G4, like you fucking sunk my battleship.
Tanks.
Yeah, there's lights and like then you get the board. It's just pigs, bunch of holes, a grid, you know, maybe a sticker that you stick in the back of a picture of a battleship. I stopped playing that at some point. Like I tried to play with my nephew, and I was all like strategic, and he's like learning still. And I at one point I think I outlined his ship, and then I was like, all right, this is it. I'm gonna get him, and I dropped him. And he's like, nope, you didn't get it. And I just started, like, I filled up the whole damn thing. And he's like, nope, you didn't get it. I'm like, do you know how this is working? I'm like, wait a minute. And I had to look. I looked, and, like, I had put holes all up in his boats, and he not once said I hit anything. So it was like, okay, we're not playing this. Like, I got all serious. I was like, no, I can't play this with you. I can't do it. Like, if you're not going to call them out the way they work, there's no way I'm going to play this game with you. Like, but I liked it when somebody knew and you set them up, you know, you try to be strategic, you're putting them out there.
Yeah.
I think I've done a game where I laid all my boats around the outside, like the ring, and I think they caught on at some point, but it was like that one.
It was
like
a good idea at the
dropping
time.
bombs, yeah, it was strategy. Like, where am I going to put this shit?
They won't guess that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, just kind of hearing that, I guess what we're talking about is 2 or multiples, more than 2, where you're trying to work out this agreement of what we're doing with this game. Because, I mean, I lately too, I've been, if I'm playing someone really young, and maybe I'm not too sure how they're gonna handle the loss if I just fucking smoke them.
Oh my god!
So I might dumb it down a little, but lately I've been like, how long am I gonna pull this off for before I'm like, nah, I'm really gonna be.
You're going down.
Yeah. But that's just opposite to what you're saying, where you're playing the game right, but someone's still not following it.
Yeah, there's no clue.
Yeah, so like, what are you guys doing?
Well, at that point, you're just calling them out and seeing what happens.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
are you even playing it?
There's a mutual agreement of what's going on.
Yeah. The rules.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or something.
I don't know.
Some kind of understanding. Like, I guess that's what we covered in that one episode on the rules. Was like, all right, when do you follow them? When's a good time to follow them? I think Battleship is one of those ones you gotta follow the rules. I think it was funny the other day. I had my son at the park, and I think I could tell we were tossing water bottles around. Like, he was climbing on the sling. I was stuffing myself at the very top, like it was a very small slide, and I'm like, cramming my big body in there, and riding down with him, and like we started throwing a water ball around, and I could tell he wanted to race me to go pick it up. Like the bottle fell on the ground, and I was so competitive. I just ran up and snatched it. Like I could see he was about to beat me, and I like sped up, and I got it. And Dad got all fucking pissed off. He just turned away like, fuck you, Dad.
Yeah.
He just turned away and walked away, and I was like, oh shit, I think I just blew that one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, where do you draw the line as far as like?
I didn't dumb it down
being
right there.
Competitive, or
I should have pulled a Hemi or something to let him get that
ball.
ball. Let him win. Let him build some confidence before I tear his ass down. Like I beat him. I beat him to the bottle, and he got all pissed off. I was like, I'm sorry. Don't go, son. Don't go. And he's just like, gave me the cold shoulder and just walked away. I'm pissed. It just stomped off. I was like, oh my god. Maybe I should have let him get that one. Yeah, he got away on that one. Or I got away. I got carried away.
So
come in.
I guess playing games, we want to win, but we also want to have a good time.
Yeah, alright. So I think games ultimately is about having fun. And when that goes out the window, like my whole competitive streak on Battleship, when come here.
Yeah, like it.
When you're no longer trying to have fun, like you were talking about the fatigue of Monopoly.
Yeah.
At some point, you stop losing your ability to, take part. And I think if you lose that fun streak, no matter the game, like if you're playing chess, there's got to be some level of enjoyment, like where you're getting something out of it. And once you lose that, like maybe it's no longer a game.
Yeah.
Like there's been times where I've completely lost it. And Daniel, my nephew, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Like there's been games where, and including that one, like we did it. We tried several times, and several times he was just like, no, you didn't get my Battleship. I'm sitting there like, I filled up my board. At some point, I gotta hit this Battleship. Like, where is this fucking thing? There was a limit. I had my limit, and I found it and blew my top. So, Daniel, if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry. But yeah, like, I think there's an element of fun that I guess is the whole point.
Yeah.
Is that not the point?
What we said in the beginning, where it's also teaching.
Yeah.
Math, counting, sharing, taking turns.
Yeah, it's a big one.
All that shit.
Roll the dice, how many moves you can do, count them out loud, spell your words.
So, by not honoring the rules, or by, I don't know. So it's funny how like on games or on toys it says up to 3 and up or 4 and up. It's almost like that maturity, like even with chess, like like you can't expect someone to learn chess in a day or in one sitting. Yeah. So,
but someone at the same age could play checkers. There was this whole conversation I was having with my mom where we were talking about me teaching my son. And her being a teacher, she had a different answer than me. I was like, hey, I can't wait to teach him this, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting because he's not grasping these concepts yet. I'm trying to think of an example, but I was trying to it was like my first thought with the dominoes. Like, all right, son, I'm not going to be able to teach you this concept right now, so I don't want to play. But we wound up playing, and there was some part. So my mom, the teacher, is like, oh, well, you could teach him, this concept or that concept because, yes, she's sticking his head in, because, yes, he is aware of this, so you might as well, approach it a little easier. Like, and I'm just like, there's some concepts I know he hasn't grasped yet because I try to tell him something, or I approach it wrong, and he starts throwing that cold shoulder on me, like, no. I'm just like, okay. I either got to check my tone or something. Like, when I try to teach him, he tends to give me the cold shoulder. Like, and I think it's a tone that I have where I think when I get mad at him, I'm even trying to teach him something like, hey, you don't do that. Like, hey, don't do that. Don't be all loud during this. And he hears that same tone when I'm like, hey, this is how you do it. Yeah. And he hears the same tone, and then he just starts like, no, I ain't doing this with your dad. Yeah. So, I mean, maturity. I think he hears that, the same tone, and he's like, no, I ain't playing with you, Dad. Like, no, and he starts going, and, shit, I'm not even aware of it. Like, my tone, I got to become aware of that as a father. Like, But, like, I guess back to what you're saying is the maturity level, I think, is different for everybody. You know, I think if I were a little bit older when I first came to learn chess and he said, read the instructions, if I were a little older, maybe I would have been able to just, like, read the instructions. Oh, this is what pawns do? Okay, cool. But at my younger age, I was like, nah, I can't. I'm not interested. He sat me in front of a computer to read the rules of chess. And I didn't know what the hell a rook was, or, you know, the bishop. You know, so it was like, I didn't have the maturity yet to play that. He also had this, like, Three Stooges farting, like, weird interactive game, too, which I loved. So I was all about the farts and not about chess. So it was like, I guess I've never matured. I still like a good fart joke or something. You know, I still laugh at a fart, but, like, I guess what I'm getting at is, like, the games, they all have that age level. Maybe a game for 3-year-olds can be played with somebody who's 3. You know, a game for 10-year-olds, if they're ready for it, they're ready for it, and they tend to let you know, like, hey, I'm ready to learn this, or I'm grasping these concepts. And
well, we're talking like a lot of mature games, but can you think of any? Like Hungry Hippo or
Loved that.
Candyland.
I was thinking Chutes and Ladders. Like, I don't know if that's mature. I don't think I had the maturity because when I hit the chute and went way back down, you know, having to start back from the beginning, I didn't have the maturity or sportsmanship to take that and be like, fuck this game. You'd be one of those guys that just tips the board over, like, throws it all the ground. Smash. So, games.
There's this one game that's called, it's like Icebreaker, I think, but it's a duck on ice skates, and then there's these, it's like a table that these ice cubes form the middle part. But, like, you can start hammering the ice chips and they'll fall, and you take turns with opponent knocking out the ice chips, and slowly, whoever knocks down the duck or whatever. I mean, I play that sometimes with kids.
I must be.
I think it's a
old as fuck, because I think that is an improvement on. I want to say it was called Kerplunk or something like that, but it was like a clear tube, and it was stuffed with all these like
I remember
sticks,
that.
And then you pile marbles on top, and like, you know, you could lose a few, but if you're the one who knocked down like the whole group because you opened all the you pulled the wrong stick or something. I can't even remember the rules. Like Jenga. Yeah, exactly. And you're, I don't know, what'd you call it?
I think it's called Icebreaker.
I think I've only seen it or heard of it, but that was the game I was comparing in my mind. I was like, I played that at a very young age, and I even tried to play with my son. But again, he doesn't like my tone. I fear that in my older age is like, I want to teach him all these things, but I really got to check my tone and realize, like I didn't realize it as a kid, but like when your parent approaches and tries to join in, they're still your parent. They're not another kid playing the game with you. They're your parents. So it's like, no, Mom, no, Dad, like, no, like, I don't want to play with you. I'm playing with the kids. And then your father figure steps in and tries to, let me teach you while we're playing this. And it's like, kills it.
That's a little. I think maybe because he's around you a lot more often, and he hears you all the time. Yeah. Suddenly you want to just throw all this knowledge on him. And like, hey, chill, Dad. You've been doing this all day. Yeah. But
can you turn it off, Dad?
But I think there's gonna be a point where he's gonna want to learn something, and the tone is just what he's gonna have to hear to learn what he wants to learn.
Well, either that or I gotta work on it a lot. Like I can't wait. Like I'm excited to start teaching him stuff, but he's still at the point where his attention span. Maybe I don't want to blame YouTube because we're on YouTube, but he'll sit there and watch all these videos where he just starts flipping through them, or like it's one of the ones where there's like 2 seconds of something, a song, a scene, and then it flips to the next part, and that's what he's into. He'll sit there and watch that. He'll be glued to that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a whole lot of, like, switching in and out of scenes and songs and characters, and it doesn't really stick like a story would or a book.
Yeah.
So...
But that's how they watch it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's killing his attention span. If I try to say, let's watch this movie, son, 5 minutes in, he's like, Dad, I want your phone. Like, 10 minutes in, he's like, he's rolling around, and he'd rather go play in the other room than watch, let's say one of my favorite movies as a kid was Land Before Time. Mm-hmm. He's not there yet where, like, damn, like, if I throw in Land Before Time right now, I'm going to just start bawling. I'll be in tears. Like, I spent a lot of years watching that as a kid. We'd watch it again and again. We covered this.
Yeah.
I had all this emotion attached to it, but, like, he doesn't have the attention span for that yet. So it's like, hopefully it's not ruined. I think you're right. Where you're like, at some point, he's gonna want to learn.
Yeah,
he's just not there yet. Like,
and he might not even know what he wants to learn yet.
Yeah,
he's just
seeing
it all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's always like we all want to learn, but it comes down to, well, what are they teaching? Because we don't all want to learn the same thing.
It's an interesting.
So
I think he just blew my mind.
So I mean, when he's ready to find out what he wants to learn, he might come to you and say, "Hey, Dad, can you teach me how to do that?" But
yeah,
it's not to say, everything I want to teach him, he doesn't want to learn. I think it's more of maybe your expectations of how he's going to respond versus of him grasping what you're trying to teach him, because you want him to be all in love with Land Before Time, but he might not get there.
My Dad, fuck this. Yeah, you hit a nerve, because all the way up until like maybe 5th grade, I was considered a poor reader.
Really?
Yeah, like I could read, but nobody could get me to read a book. Like, I could read.
Oh yeah.
At a high level, but I didn't care to read. I wasn't somebody who walked around with books. Like, I didn't care. I did not care. I had no desire to read a book. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was Goosebumps and Animorphs, mostly Animorphs, where in 5th grade I found them, I started reading them, and I related to it. Next thing I knew, I was an avid reader, and I wanted more, and I wanted more books, I wanted more stories. But it took that, just one thing that made sense and clicked, and then boom, my attention span and my reading level shot through the roof, because I was like, I found what I was into. Yeah. So yeah, man, you hit a nerve there. I think you hit it on the nose, and I got to be patient, or at least find out what he's into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. It's Case solved, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's something to think on there.
Well, I always tell that to the kids, like, that's what they're told to tell you to read, but you gotta go find something that you want to read yourself, because there's books on other interesting topics that they're not selling at school.
Yeah.
So don't say you hate reading. You just haven't found a book that you want to read.
Yeah. As I got older, I think it was like Stephen King and Dean Koontz.
Mm-hmm. I think for me it's sports. Like I rather, and music. Like I like reading about it.
Interesting.
And learning about the stories of the players, or so like reading about like I think I was into more magazines when I was like Sports Illustrated. Like
Interesting.
That was kind of like what I like to do.
Nice.
But I mean, it took me. I was in the same way. Like I really don't have a lot of favorite chapter books because I was like I always like to read like magazines and
interesting.
And then the internet too. Like that, there's not like a lot of blogs and a lot of just like random articles. Doesn't necessarily have to be a chapter book.
Yeah, like on that same note, like I never followed sports. Like I never followed basketball. And then one day my dad took me to a basketball game, and he spent like the whole time trying to teach me the finer points of the game, like how to track where they're at, what quarter there's quarters. Like he was teaching me all the concepts, and then suddenly I was interested. Like suddenly I was like, wow, basketball is actually pretty freaking cool. I want to learn more. And it might have just been that I was spending time with my dad, but it was like until he taught it to me, I didn't showed me what it was about. I didn't care. And like same thing with football. Until I played it, I didn't really follow it. And then once I played it, it was like, wow, like I could watch a game and be like, yeah, you guys push it through and get that touchdown or get the first down. Like, oh my God, it's fourth down. Don't kick it. Just go for it. Like you're so many yards away. And it took some introduction. So maybe I got to find that. And the future games will be better. Got to find his thing, whatever it is. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably a good advice for relationship stuff, too. Find your lady something. Like the movie Phenomenon, where he's like, you got to buy so-and-so's chairs. The lady kept coming in with
you're thinking
chairs.
of
Phenomenon.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah.
John Travolta?
Yeah, the lady made these wicker chairs.
Yeah,
and nobody bought them, but he was buying all of them because he was buying what she was into. So, anybody trying to be in that relationship with somebody, you find out what they're into and you buy her chairs. So, me and my boy, I got to figure out what his chairs are and work with him towards that.
Yeah. And you probably already know a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. I probably do, but I got my dad tone when I start talking to him. He just shuts down like, fuck you, Dad, don't be mad at me right now. No, I'm trying to teach you. Like, I want to teach you something. And he's not about it. Interesting.
Yeah. But then you got to, like understand it's a process, not something you're gonna figure out and
like, oh look at this, son. Oh, what? That? What? Oh, yeah, cool. Let's do this every day. Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a football, and I was like, all right, we're gonna play catch. First day, I'm kicking it around, I'm throwing it, and he doesn't know how to catch quite yet. So I'm like, hey, catch, and he enjoyed that for 2 seconds. And then he's like, hey, look, the park's over there. Let's go to the park. I'm like, oh, okay, this is on hold now. Oh, boy.
Mama, reading.
Huh?
Mama, reading.
Okay. All right, we're almost done. Son will be out in a second. Grandma's doing something. I don't know what he's talking about. All right, boy. We'll be out. We'll be out, son. You think he's saying bleeding? Grandma's bleeding?
Yeah. Mama.
Grandma's bleeding?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. I might have to go out there and I doubt she's dying, or I would have heard her screaming. So he kind of freaks out about blood anyway. So do you have any last words to talk about board games? Can we bring it back around to board games? Like, I think we're on a good good ending point.
It's
all right, I'll be out there in a second, son.
And I think it's what you do with your time when it's maybe lighthearted and opportunity to use your imagination or use your cooperation skills. I don't know, but it's kind of I would have thought, honestly, I thought more people would be playing board games during this time, but maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe they are, and there's just no time to say, hey, we were playing Jenga last night, or hey, we nailed some chess this weekend, and you're like, like, pandemic's not over. We're not back to where we're sitting in a room talking about what we did so easily, unless you're like,
well, when you say game night, I'm like, what if there was a game night where everybody played a game and it was like, what did you learn in that game?
Yeah.
So I guess when they say it's just a game, but what is the takeaway from it? Or does there need to be a takeaway?
I liked what you had to say about an agreement between two players. Or I guess however number of players in the game. Yeah, like there's an agreement or an understanding of what the rules are and what we're gonna do with it. He doesn't. Okay, well, all right. I think we're at a good stopping point. I gotta go inspect what's bleeding out there. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is another episode of the Natives in America podcast. Real soon, we're gonna have merchandise. We're working on it. We had them here today. Sky brought them over. We got jackets. In the future, we'll have hats, and I think we should work on some stickers of Natives in America podcast, and we'll start. I don't know, advertising them. Start figuring out like some sort of way that we can start giving them out as prizes.
Something.
We
need a Facebook or a visible platform where we can talk to the peeps.
To the mass. I would like I already got like a list of people that I send a link to, but it's not our entire group of people. It's not our whole listeners. So what I would like you can subscribe on YouTube, but maybe we could set up a Facebook page where our whole entire group is attached to it. Like, whoever wants to listen can join the Facebook page, and then whenever we put out a new one, boom, everybody has it, not just people who have a YouTube account that can subscribe. Because I think our listeners are in a higher number than, I think we're at 52 now, subscribers, 51. If it's 55, then we've gone up. I think it's either 51 or 52.
It's dark outside.
It's dark outside? Well, it must be time to go then.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to hit the big red button. Good night, everybody.
Peace.